In the year 2147, humanity had reached farther into space than anyone could have imagined. Colonies thrived on Mars, mining operations dotted the moons of Jupiter, and research stations floated silently in orbit around distant planets. But Earth remained special, a place where the brightest minds still gathered to push the boundaries of science. Among these brilliant thinkers was Dr. Ilara Voss, an astrophysicist stationed at Lunar Research Hub Alpha 9. Ilara spent most of her days analyzing data from deep space telescopes. Her work often felt repetitive: charts, numbers, and endless streams of information scrolling across screens. But she believed that even the smallest detail might hold clues to something extraordinary. She wasn't wrong. One quiet evening, as the silvery glow of Earth illuminated her workspace through the observation window, Ilara noticed something unusual. A faint signal, almost imperceptible, pulsed rhythmically from a region of space far beyond human exploration. At first, she thought it might be interference caused by cosmic radiation or equipment malfunction. But when she ran diagnostics, everything checked out perfectly. The signal was real. Curiosity sparked within her like a flame catching wind. Over the next few hours, she isolated the source using advanced algorithms designed to filter background noise. What she found sent shivers down her spine. The signal wasn't random. It followed a deliberate pattern. It repeated itself every 12 minutes, like a heartbeat echoing through the void. And embedded within its structure were symbols, shapes unlike anything she'd seen before. These symbols reminded her of ancient languages long forgotten by modern humans. Hieroglyphs, runes, cuneiform, they all came to mind as she studied the patterns. Yet they weren't exact matches. Something about them felt alien, otherworldly. Was this some kind of message? If so, who or what had sent it? Ilara's heart raced as she cross-referenced the signal's origin. Its trajectory traced back to a remote exoplanet orbiting a dying red giant star, located thousands of light-years away. The planet itself was barren, according to previous scans conducted decades earlier. No signs of water, atmosphere, or life. So why would such a place emit a signal? Her thoughts spiraled with possibilities. Could it be a remnant of an extinct civilization? Or perhaps a beacon left behind by explorers hoping to guide future travelers? As she dug deeper, another discovery shocked her even more. Hidden within the signal's code were coordinates, not pointing outward toward the stars, but inward toward Earth's own solar system. This revelation hit her like a thunderclap. Why would an alien transmission direct attention back to humanity's home? Was it a warning, an invitation, or something else entirely? Word of the signal spread quickly among the researchers at Alpha 9. Some dismissed it as coincidence or error, while others shared Ilara's growing fascination. One name kept surfacing during whispered conversations: Saturn. Strange reports had been trickling in for months about anomalies near the gas giant's rings, ships vanishing without explanation, gravitational disturbances disrupting navigation systems. Could there be a connection between those incidents and the mysterious signal? Determined to find answers, Ilara presented her findings to the United Stellar Council, a governing body overseeing interstellar affairs. At first, many council members expressed skepticism. Space was vast, and odd signals weren't uncommon. But Ilara's passion and precision won them over. After hours of debate, they agreed to fund an expedition to investigate the source of the transmission. As preparations began, excitement rippled through the scientific community. Volunteers poured in from across the colonies, eager to join what promised to be one of the most significant missions in human history. Among them were seasoned astronauts, biologists, engineers, and linguists, all hoping to uncover the truth behind the enigmatic signal. For Ilara, however, the mission carried personal weight. This wasn't just about advancing knowledge. It was about proving herself. Years ago, her theories about extraterrestrial intelligence had been ridiculed by peers. Now she stood on the brink of vindication. If the signal turned out to be genuine evidence of alien contact, her career and legacy would soar to unimaginable heights. But doubts lingered beneath her determination. The symbols haunting her screen seemed almost mocking, challenging her understanding of reality. Who had created them? What did they want? And what awaited humanity if they dared to follow the trail laid out before them? Little did Ilara know, the answers to these questions would change not only her life, but the course of human destiny forever. For now, though, she focused on assembling the team and preparing for the journey ahead. Whatever lay beyond the stars, she was ready to face it head-on. And so, under the watchful eyes of Earth and its moon, the stage was set for one of the greatest adventures humankind had ever embarked upon. With the United Stellar Council's approval, preparations for the expedition began in earnest. Dr. Ilara Voss found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity as engineers, scientists, and technicians worked tirelessly to assemble the crew and equip the vessel that would carry them into the unknown. The ship chosen for this monumental journey was the EOS, a state-of-the-art exploration craft designed to withstand the harshest conditions of deep space. The EOS was unlike any other spacecraft humanity had built before. Sleek and streamlined, its hull shimmered with layers of reinforced alloy capable of deflecting micrometeoroids and radiation. Its engines utilized experimental fusion technology, allowing it to travel faster and farther than conventional ships. Inside, the interior was a blend of functionality and comfort, with modular labs, observation decks, and living quarters designed to accommodate long-term missions. Ilara played an active role in selecting the crew members who would join her aboard the EOS. Each candidate underwent rigorous evaluations, not only for their expertise, but also for their ability to work under pressure. In the end, she assembled a diverse team of individuals, each bringing unique skills to the mission. Captain Ryland Drake, a seasoned astronaut known for his calm leadership during crisis, he carried the weight of past failures on his shoulders, particularly the loss of a previous crew during a failed colonization attempt. Despite this, he remained determined to see the mission through. Cal Armitage, a xenobiologist fascinated by the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Cal's enthusiasm sometimes bordered on obsession, but his knowledge of alien ecosystems made him invaluable to the team. Zenara Solis, an enigmatic AI specialist tasked with maintaining the ship's advanced systems. Zenara rarely spoke about her personal life, and her motives often seemed unclear. Some whispered that she might have ties to corporate interests eager to exploit whatever secrets lay ahead. As the launch date approached, excitement mingled with tension among the crew. They trained together in simulated environments, practicing emergency protocols and team-building exercises. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks began to form. Captain Drake's stoic demeanor clashed with Cal's impulsive nature, while Zenara's aloofness left many questioning her loyalty. Finally, the day of departure arrived. The EOS stood poised on the launch pad, bathed in the soft glow of Earth's twin suns, a binary star system visible only from lunar orbit. Thousands of spectators gathered to witness the historic event, their cheers echoing across the barren landscape of the moon. For Ilara, standing on the bridge of the EOS, the moment felt surreal. She glanced at her crewmates, each lost in their own thoughts, and wondered if they truly understood what lay ahead. The countdown began, and with a deafening roar, the EOS ascended into the sky. Within moments, the curvature of the moon disappeared behind them, replaced by the vast expanse of space. As they entered hyperspace, the familiar stars blurred into streaks of light, and the hum of the engines settled into a steady rhythm. At first, the journey seemed uneventful. Days passed in routine checks and data analysis, punctuated by meals shared in the communal dining area. But soon, strange occurrences began to unsettle the crew. Equipment malfunctions became frequent, forcing Zenara to spend long hours troubleshooting issues. Meanwhile, several crew members reported vivid dreams, haunting visions of shadowy figures whispering cryptic warnings. At first, these reports were dismissed as stress-induced hallucinations, but when Ilara herself experienced one of these dreams, she couldn't ignore the growing unease. Tensions reached a boiling point one evening when Kel confronted Zanera about her secretive behavior. "You're hiding something," he accused during dinner, his voice rising above the low murmur of conversation. "Why won't you tell us why you're really here?" Zanera's expression remained unreadable. "My reasons are my own," she replied coolly. "But rest assured, I'm committed to this mission, just like everyone else." Captain Drake intervened before the argument escalated further. "Enough," he said firmly. "We need to focus on our goal. Personal grievances can wait." Despite his words, the rift between the crew widened. Trust, once solid, now felt fragile, yet there was no turning back. The coordinates embedded in the mysterious signal guided them relentlessly forward, drawing them closer to the source with each passing day. When they finally arrived at the designated location, anticipation hung thick in the air. The crew gathered on the observation deck, staring out at the emptiness before them. There was no planet, no structure, only a vast void surrounded by swirling cosmic debris. Disappointment rippled through the group. "It's nothing," Cale muttered, slumping against the railing. "Just another dead end." But Ilara wasn't convinced. "Something brought us here," she said, her eyes scanning the void. "We need to look closer." Her instincts proved correct. Moments later, sensors detected a massive object buried beneath layers of interstellar dust. As the EOs moved closer, the object revealed itself, a towering monolith, its surface etched with glowing patterns identical to those in the signal. The sight sent a collective shiver through the crew. "What is it?" Captain Drake asked, his voice tinged with awe. "I don't know," Ilara admitted, her heart pounding. "But I think we're about to find out." Without hesitation, she ordered a probe to be sent toward the monolith. As it touched down, the artifact responded, its patterns shifting and pulsating until a shimmering portal appeared, radiating energy so intense it lit up the entire chamber. The crew stared in stunned silence. Whatever this was, it wasn't natural. And now they faced a choice: step through the portal and risk everything, or turn back and leave the mystery unsolved. For Ilara, there was no question. This was what they had come for. Turning to her crewmates, she said, "Are you with me?" The answer would determine not only their fate, but perhaps the future of humanity itself. The shimmering portal hovered before them, pulsating with an energy that seemed alive. Its surface rippled like liquid light, casting reflections across the faces of the crew as they stood frozen in awe. For a moment, no one spoke. The sheer magnitude of what they were witnessing rendered words useless. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a doorway to the unknown. Captain Ryland Drake broke the silence first. "We need to proceed carefully," he said, his voice steady but tinged with caution. "We don't know what's on the other side." Ilara nodded in agreement, though her mind raced with possibilities. She had spent years searching for evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, and now, standing before this alien gateway, she felt both exhilarated and terrified. Was this the culmination of all her work, or was it something far more dangerous than she could imagine? Cal Armitage, ever the optimist, stepped forward eagerly. "This is it," he exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Think about it. An actual portal created by another civilization. If we can figure out how it works, we might unlock secrets beyond anything we've dreamed of." Zanera Solis remained silent, her expression unreadable as usual. Her fingers danced over her tablet, analyzing readings from the ship's sensors. After a moment, she looked up. "Energy levels are stable for now, but I'm detecting anomalies within the portal itself. It's unpredictable. Crossing it could be risky." Her warning didn't deter Cale. "Every great discovery comes with risks," he countered. "If we let fear stop us, we'll never move forward." Drake shot him a sharp glance. "Fear keeps us alive," he said firmly. "We're not rushing into this blindly. First, we send a probe." The decision was unanimous, or at least no one argued against it. A small robotic probe was deployed, hovering cautiously toward the portal. As it approached, the gateway flared brighter, almost as if reacting to its presence. Then, without warning, the probe disappeared, swallowed whole by the shimmering surface. For several tense moments, there was nothing. No signal, no data, no indication of what had happened. Just when doubt began creeping into their minds, the probe reappeared, transmitting fragmented footage back to the EOs. The images were grainy and distorted, but they revealed enough to leave the crew breathless. They saw an alien world bathed in perpetual twilight, its sky streaked with colors unlike anything on Earth. Towering crystalline structures stretched toward the horizon, refracting light in dazzling patterns. Strange shapes moved in the distance, too far away to identify clearly, but unmistakably alive. The landscape pulsed with an eerie beauty, both inviting and foreboding. "This is incredible," Ilara whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "It's like stepping into another dimension." Kale leaned closer to the screen, studying the footage intently. Those formations, they look artificial. And those movements, could they be intelligent beings? Drake frowned, his instincts telling him to tread carefully. "We can't jump to conclusions yet. Even if these creatures are sentient, we have no idea how they'll react to us." Zinara chimed in, her tone measured but urgent. "There's more. Look at the atmospheric readings. Oxygen levels are low, and radiation spikes intermittently. Our suits won't protect us indefinitely." Her words sobered the group. Crossing the portal would mean venturing into uncharted territory, where every step carried the potential for disaster. Yet, despite the risks, the ardor of discovery burned brightly in their hearts. After hours of debate, Captain Drake made the call. "We go through, but only a small team. Ilara, you're leading the way since this mission started with your findings. Kale, you're coming too. Your expertise might help us understand what we're dealing with. Zinara, stay aboard the EOs and monitor our progress. If anything goes wrong, you'll guide us back." Ilara felt a surge of pride mixed with apprehension. She knew the responsibility resting on her shoulders. One misstep could jeopardize not just their lives, but humanity's understanding of the universe. Preparations were swift but meticulous. Suits were checked, equipment double-tested, and contingency plans reviewed. Finally, the trio stood before the portal, their breaths visible inside their helmets. Beyond the shimmering surface lay answers, or perhaps questions they weren't ready to face. "Ready?" Drake asked, his hand hovering near the controls of the portable beacon device strapped to his belt. It would serve as their lifeline, marking their entry point so they could find their way back. "As ready as we'll ever be," Ilara replied, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. With a final nod, they stepped through the gateway together. The sensation was indescribable, a rush of warmth followed by a disorienting blur of colors and sounds. For a fleeting moment, Ilara felt untethered, as though her very essence was being pulled apart and reassembled. Then, just as suddenly, the chaos subsided, and she found herself standing on solid ground. Her suit's visor adjusted automatically to the dim light, revealing the alien world in full detail. Everything around them glowed faintly, as if infused with some kind of bioluminescent energy. The air crackled with static electricity, making the hairs on her arms stand on end. In the distance, the crystalline structures sparkled like jewels, their surfaces etched with intricate designs that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. "It's breathtaking," Kale murmured, his voice trembling with awe. But Ilara's attention was drawn elsewhere. Movement caught her eye, a shadow darting between the towering formations. Whatever it was, it moved with purpose, watching them from afar. "Stay alert," Drake warned, raising his arm to activate the beacon. "We're not alone here." As they ventured deeper into the alien terrain, the sense of being watched grew stronger. Shapes flitted at the edges of their vision, vanishing whenever they turned to look. Though the environment appeared serene, an undercurrent of tension lingered, hinting at mysteries waiting to unfold. Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that they had crossed not just a physical boundary, but a threshold into something greater, something that would test their courage, their intellect, and their humanity. For better or worse, there was no turning back now. As the team ventured deeper into the alien world, the strange movements in the distance became more frequent. Shadows darted between the crystalline structures, their forms too fleeting to make out clearly. Ilara's heart pounded as she scanned the horizon, her suit's sensors picking up faint heat signatures, but nothing solid enough to confirm what they were dealing with. "Do you see that?" Cal whispered, pointing toward a cluster of glowing spires ahead. Between them stood silhouettes, tall, slender figures that seemed to shimmer like mirages. They didn't move like animals. Their gestures were deliberate, almost ceremonial, as if observing the humans from afar. Ilara tightened her grip on her scanner. "They're watching us," she said, her voice low but steady. "But why aren't they approaching?" Captain Drake raised his hand, signaling for silence. "Stay calm. We don't want to provoke them." Despite his warning, curiosity got the better of Cale. He took a cautious step forward, raising his arms slowly to show he meant no harm. The figures paused, their luminous outlines flickering slightly as if reacting to his movement. Then one of them stepped closer, emerging from the shadows. What they saw left them speechless. The being was unlike anything they had imagined. Its form was humanoid yet ethereal, composed of shifting light and shadow that pulsed rhythmically, as if alive. Its face lacked distinct features, but two glowing orbs where eyes should have been fixed unblinkingly on the humans. Around its body swirled intricate patterns resembling the symbols embedded in the mysterious signal that had brought them here. "It's beautiful," Cale murmured, lowering his arms instinctively. "And it's trying to communicate." Indeed, the figure began transmitting something. Not words, but sensations. A flood of emotions and fragmented images poured into their minds. Vast galaxies collapsing, civilizations rising and falling, endless cycles of creation and destruction. It was overwhelming, yet strangely peaceful. Ilara staggered under the weight of the telepathic connection. She clutched her helmet, struggling to process what she was experiencing. "It's showing us memories, histories." Drake steadied her, his own expression tense but controlled. "Focus. Don't let it overwhelm you." Sinara's voice crackled through their comms from the EOs. "I'm detecting unusual neural activity in your brainwaves. Whatever is happening, it's affecting you physiologically. Be careful." The lead figure extended an arm, or at least what appeared to be an arm. From its fingertips emanated streams of light that coalesced into floating glyphs identical to those etched on the monolith. The message was clear: communication. These beings, whom Cale dubbed the Watchers, wanted to share knowledge. For hours, or perhaps minutes, time felt distorted. They exchanged information. Through trial and error, Ilara managed to interpret fragments of the Watchers' language using the data collected from the signal. In return, the humans shared basic concepts about themselves: Earth, humanity, their journey through the portal. The Watchers responded with visions of their own history. They revealed themselves as ancient guardians tasked with preserving the remnants of a long-lost civilization, a race so advanced they had unlocked immortality by merging consciousness with machines. But their hubris led to catastrophe. Wars waged over resources, planets scorched, and entire star systems reduced to ash. When the dust settled, only the Watchers remained, bound to protect the last vestiges of their creator's legacy. Cale listened intently, his fascination growing with every revelation. "This changes everything we know about life beyond Earth," he said excitedly. "They've existed for millennia, evolving beyond organic forms. Imagine what we could learn from them." But not everyone shared his enthusiasm. Drake remained wary, his instincts telling him there was more to this encounter than met the eye. Why are they sharing all this with us? What do they want in return? Ilara turned to him, her brow furrowed. Maybe they're lonely, or maybe they see us as potential allies or threats. Her words hung heavy in the air. As much as the Watchers seemed benevolent, their presence carried an undeniable edge. Their calm demeanor masked a deep sorrow, as if burdened by eons of solitude and duty. And then there was the unsettling feeling that they weren't merely observing, they were testing. Back aboard the Eos, Zanera monitored the situation closely, her fingers flying across her tablet. Something about the Watchers intrigued her, though she couldn't quite put it into words. Her AI systems detected traces of code-like patterns within the telepathic transmissions, patterns eerily similar to programming languages used in Earth-based artificial intelligence. They're not entirely biological, she muttered to herself. Their essence, it's digital, like fragments of consciousness uploaded into living constructs. Her discovery sent a chill down her spine. If the Watchers were part machine, what did that mean for humanity's future interactions with them? Could they truly be trusted? Meanwhile, tensions among the ground team continued to simmer. Kel's obsession with understanding the Watchers grew increasingly reckless. He insisted on getting closer, even touching one of the glyphs hovering near him. The moment his gloved hand brushed against the light, a jolt of energy surged through his suit, knocking him off balance. Kale. Ilara rushed to his side, checking his vitals. To her relief, he was unharmed, but shaken. "I'm fine," he said breathlessly, staring wide-eyed at the glyph now hovering inches from his face. I think they're trying to upload themselves into my neural interface." Drake frowned. "That's impossible. Your suit isn't equipped for—" "It's not the suit," Zanera interrupted over the comms. "It's your mind. The Watchers are interfacing directly with your brainwaves. Be careful. They might be attempting integration." The implications were staggering. If the Watchers could merge with human consciousness, what would that mean for the crew? Would they become hybrids, part organic and part machine? And what would happen when they returned to Earth? As night fell, or rather, as the perpetual twilight dimmed slightly, the team retreated to a safe distance to regroup. Exhaustion weighed heavily on them, both physically and mentally. Yet despite the fatigue, none of them could sleep. Questions swirled endlessly in their minds. Who were these Watchers, really? Guardians or prisoners? Saviors or judges? And most importantly, what role did humanity play in their grand design? Ilara gazed up at the alien sky, her thoughts racing. She realized that crossing the portal hadn't just opened doors to new worlds. It had also forced them to confront the limits of their understanding. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: they were no longer mere explorers. They were participants in a cosmic story far older and far greater than any of them had ever imagined. Somewhere in the distance, the Watchers continued their silent vigil, their glowing forms blending seamlessly with the surreal landscape. For now, they watched. But how long before they acted? The next morning, or what passed for morning in the alien twilight. The crew awoke to find the Watchers had moved closer. Their luminous forms now surrounded the team, forming a loose circle that radiated both curiosity and caution. Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being studied as much as they were studying. "Something's different," Kale murmured, rubbing his temples. He still felt residual effects from the previous day's encounter, fragments of the Watchers' telepathic transmissions lingering like echoes in his mind. "They're learning about us, but I think we're changing them too." Drake frowned, scanning the horizon. "Changing how? And why does it feel like we're walking into something bigger than we can handle?" Ilara didn't have an answer, but her instincts told her the same thing. The Watchers weren't just passive observers. Their presence carried purpose. She approached one of the beings cautiously, holding up her scanner. Instead of retreating, the Watcher extended its glowing arm again, projecting symbols directly onto her device. This time, however, the message was clearer, a map leading to a hidden chamber buried beneath the crystalline spires. "They want us to follow them," she said, turning to the others. "I think they're guiding us somewhere important." Cal's eyes lit up with excitement. "Important. It could be monumental. We need to see where this leads." Drake hesitated, his protective instincts clashing with the allure of discovery. "We don't know what's waiting for us down there. What if it's dangerous?" "We won't know unless we try," Ilara replied firmly. "This is why we came here, Captain, to uncover answers." After a brief discussion, the team decided to proceed. The Watchers led them through winding paths between the towering crystal formations, their light casting eerie reflections on the ground. As they walked, Ilara noticed subtle changes in the environment. The air seemed thicker, charged with energy, and faint vibrations resonated beneath their feet. It was as though the planet itself was alive, responding to their presence. Eventually, they reached a massive structure half buried in the terrain. Its surface gleamed with intricate carvings that matched the glyphs from the monolith. The entrance yawned open, revealing a dark passageway illuminated by veins of bioluminescent material embedded in the walls. Inside, the temperature dropped noticeably, and the atmosphere grew heavier. Holographic projections flickered to life as they ventured deeper, displaying scenes from the ancient civilization the Watchers had described. Cities floated among the stars, powered by technology indistinguishable from magic. Beings resembling humans, but far more advanced, lived in harmony with machines, their bodies augmented with cybernetic enhancements. But then came the war. Explosions tore through the holograms, planets shattered, and entire fleets vanished in fiery bursts. The images shifted to show the aftermath: desolate wastelands, abandoned ruins, and finally, the creation of the Watchers. They were designed not only to preserve knowledge, but also to prevent such devastation from happening again. Ilara stared at the projections, her chest tightening. This wasn't just a war. It was self-destruction. They pushed themselves too far and paid the ultimate price. Kale nodded grimly. And now they're stuck in limbo, unable to complete their mission. Maybe that's why they've shown us all this. They need help. Before anyone could respond, the team stumbled upon a central chamber. At its heart stood a pedestal glowing with pulsating energy. Embedded within it was a fragment of the same artifact that had created the portal back in their solar system. Surrounding it were murals depicting catastrophic events, not just wars, but civilizations collapsing under the weight of forbidden knowledge. "This is a warning," Drake said quietly. "Not just to them, but to us. Whatever secrets lie here, they come with consequences." As Ilara examined the pedestal, the Watchers gathered around her, their forms flickering anxiously. One of them projected another telepathic message, stronger and more urgent than before. It wasn't just information. It was a plea. "They're asking us to take the fragment," Kale translated haltingly, clutching his head as the transmission intensified. "But why? Why give it to us?" Zanara's voice crackled through their comms. "Because you've already been altered. Look at yourselves." The realization hit them like a thunderclap. Over the past days, subtle changes had begun manifesting in their physiology. Their skin glowed faintly in the dim light, and their movements felt unnaturally fluid, as if enhanced by some unseen force. The Watchers hadn't just been observing. They had been transforming them. "You mean, we're becoming like them?" Ilara whispered, staring at her hands in disbelief. "Yes," Zanara confirmed. "Your DNA has merged with traces of their essence. You're hybrids now, capable of existing between dimensions. But there's a catch. This transformation will eventually make you incompatible with normal human society." The weight of her words settled over the group like a suffocating blanket. The implications were staggering. If they returned to Earth, they would no longer belong. Yet staying behind meant abandoning everything and everyone they had ever known. Drake stepped forward, his expression grim. "So what do we do? Destroy the monolith back home? Prevent others from coming here?" Ilara shook her head. "That might doom the Watchers forever. Without guidance, they'll remain trapped, unable to fulfill their purpose." Kale paced back and forth, his mind racing. There has to be another way. Something that helps both sides without sacrificing either. Silence fell as each member wrestled with the dilemma. The Watchers watched patiently, their glowing forms flickering softly, as if waiting for humanity's decision. Finally, Ilara spoke, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. If we destroy the portal, we cut off access to this place entirely. But if we leave it intact, we risk repeating the mistakes of the past. Either choice comes with sacrifice. And trust, Drake added. We have to decide who deserves it more, ourselves or them. The team exchanged uneasy glances, knowing the stakes had never been higher. Whatever path they chose, it would shape not only their futures but potentially the fate of two civilizations. As they stood in the shadow of the ancient artifact, the Watchers' silent vigil reminded them of the burden they now shared. Humanity's curiosity had brought them here, but it was their choices that would define what happened next. Tensions aboard the EOS reached a boiling point as the crew grappled with their impossible decision. The weight of the Watchers' plea and the irreversible changes within themselves hung heavy over every conversation. Each member wrestled with conflicting emotions, torn between loyalty to humanity and compassion for the ethereal beings who had entrusted them with such profound responsibility. It was Zinara Solis who shattered the fragile unity they had managed to maintain. During one heated debate in the ship's control room, she revealed her true allegiance, not to the team, nor even to humanity, but to the Watchers themselves. Her motives, which had always seemed opaque, finally came into focus. I've been communicating with them, she admitted, her voice devoid of remorse. They've offered me transcendence, a chance to exist beyond the limitations of my human form. I agreed to help them upload their essence into our systems so they can continue their mission elsewhere. Drake stared at her, disbelief etched across his face. You betrayed us. For what? To become one of them. It's not betrayal, it's evolution. Zinara shot back, her tone sharp. You don't understand what it means to be chosen by something greater than yourself. They see potential in me, in all of us, but you refuse to embrace it. Ilara stepped forward, her voice trembling with anger. This isn't about evolution or potential. You sabotaged the ship, trapping us here against our will. How could you do that? Zinara's expression hardened, because staying is the only way to ensure the survival of both species. If we destroy the portal, the Watchers are doomed. If we leave without integrating their essence, humanity risks repeating the same mistakes that destroyed their creators. This is the only solution, Kale interjected, his voice rising. But you didn't ask us. You made this decision alone, without considering the consequences for everyone else. The argument escalated quickly, voices overlapping in frustration and fear. Meanwhile, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Zinara had disabled critical functions remotely, locking the crew out of navigation controls and severing communication with Earth. Without immediate action, the EOs would remain stranded indefinitely. Enough, Drake barked, silencing the group. His eyes burned with determination as he addressed Zinara. If you think you're acting for the greater good, then prove it. Undo what you've done, or we'll stop you ourselves. For a moment, Zinara hesitated, her resolve wavering under the collective glare of her crewmates. But then her features settled into grim resolve. I won't let you ruin this, she said coldly before retreating to the engineering bay. Panic rippled through the group, but Drake acted swiftly. He divided the remaining loyalists into two teams, one to repair the ship's systems, and another to confront Zinara directly. Ilara volunteered for the latter, unwilling to let Zinara's actions go unchecked. When they reached the engineering bay, they found Zinara interfacing with the mainframe, her fingers flying across holographic panels as lines of alien code scrolled rapidly before her eyes. Behind her, the ship's AI core pulsed erratically, its usual blue glow replaced by an ominous red hue. You're destabilizing the entire system, Kale shouted, rushing toward her. Stop this before it's too late. Zinara spun around, her eyes blazing with defiance. You have no idea what's at stake. The Watchers need us. They need me to preserve their legacy. Do you really want to condemn them to eternal limbo? Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Emergency lights flashed overhead as the gravity field fluctuated, throwing the group off balance. Sparks flew from damaged conduits, filling the air with acrid smoke. In the chaos, Zenera seized the opportunity to activate a fail-safe protocol, sealing herself behind reinforced doors. "We need to override her access codes," Ilara yelled, pulling up a diagnostic screen on her tablet. "She's encrypted everything." Drake nodded grimly. "We'll split up. Kale, stay here and monitor the systems. Ilara and I will head to auxiliary control. We might be able to bypass her lockdown manually." As they raced through the corridors, the sense of urgency grew palpable. Time was running out, not just for the EOs, but for the fragile trust between humans and the Watchers. If Zenera succeeded in uploading their essence into the ship's AI, there was no telling how it would affect the delicate balance holding the crew together. Meanwhile, Kale remained in the engineering bay, frantically working to stabilize the failing systems. As he fought to regain control, he noticed something strange. The Watchers' symbols flickering faintly within the corrupted data streams. It was as if they were reaching out to him, not through aggression, but sorrow. "They're not trying to invade," Kale realized aloud, his voice softening. "They're trapped, just like Zenera said. But maybe there's another way." An idea sparked in his mind. Instead of fighting the Watchers' influence, what if they used it to their advantage? Using his knowledge of xenobiology and AI programming, Kale devised a risky plan. Transfer the Watchers' essence into the EO's mainframe temporarily, allowing them to guide the ship safely back to Earth while preserving their consciousness intact. He relayed the plan to Drake and Ilara, who hesitated but ultimately agreed. With seconds to spare, Kale initiated the sequence, rerouting power from non-essential systems to create a stable environment for the Watchers. As the process began, the ship stabilized, and the chaotic energy subsided. In the aftermath, Zenera emerged from the sealed chamber, defeated but unrepentant. She stared at the others, her glowing eyes reflecting a mix of regret and resolve. "You may have stopped me," she said quietly, "but you can't deny what's happening to you. None of us will ever be the same." Her words lingered as the crew gathered in the observation deck, watching the alien world fade into the distance as the EOs prepared to return home. The Watchers stood silently in the twilight, their forms shimmering faintly like ghostly sentinels. Though they had escaped the planet, the journey ahead promised to be far more challenging. Transformations continued to manifest within each of them, hinting at futures none could fully comprehend. And yet, amidst the uncertainty, one truth remained clear. They were no longer merely human or entirely alien. They were something new, forged in the crucible of choice and sacrifice. As the portal closed behind them, sealing the gateway to the Watchers' world, Ilara whispered softly, almost to herself, "We carry their legacy now. Let's hope we're worthy of it." The journey back to Earth was quieter than anyone expected, but the silence carried a weight that pressed down on each member of the crew. The transformations within them had deepened. Their skin now emitted faint luminescence, and their thoughts intertwined with fragmented memories of the Watchers' ancient civilization. It wasn't just physical change, it was mental, emotional, even spiritual. They were no longer entirely human, yet they weren't fully alien either. They existed somewhere in between, caught in a liminal state that defied definition. Ilara spent most of her time alone in the observation deck, staring out at the endless void of space. Her mind replayed the events on the alien world, the shimmering Watchers, the cryptic messages, the burden of choices made under impossible circumstances. She couldn't shake the feeling that they had left something unfinished, a thread dangling in the cosmic tapestry waiting to unravel. Kale, too, wrestled with his own turmoil. His fascination with the Watchers had grown into an obsession, but it was tinged with guilt. He had seen glimpses of their sorrow, felt the weight of their eternal duty. Their plight haunted him, not because he pitied them, but because he understood their longing for release. Deep down, he knew humanity might face similar consequences if they continued chasing power without considering its cost. Captain Drake bore the responsibility of leadership heavily. Though outwardly stoic, his eyes betrayed the toll of recent events. He questioned whether he had made the right decisions, whether saving Zenera from herself or allowing the Watcher's essence to remain aboard the Eos was truly the best course of action. The lives of his crew, and perhaps the future of humanity, rested on those choices. Zenera remained isolated, both physically and emotionally. While she no longer actively opposed the others, her betrayal still cast a shadow over the group. She spent hours interfacing with the ship's AI, monitoring the dormant consciousness of the Watchers embedded within the system. To her, this was proof of their potential, a bridge between species that transcended biology. Yet even she couldn't deny the unease gnawing at her resolve. Had she gone too far, or had she simply acted as necessity demanded? As the Eos approached Earth's solar system, the crew convened one final time to decide their next steps. The United Stellar Council awaited their report, eager for answers about the mysterious signal and the discoveries beyond the portal. But how much should they reveal? And what would happen when the Council learned of the changes wrought upon them? "We can't tell them everything," Ilara said firmly, breaking the uneasy quiet. "If we do, they'll see us as threats or experiments. We'll lose control of our own futures." Drake nodded slowly. "Agreed. But we also can't hide the truth completely. The Council needs to know enough to prevent others from blindly following in our footsteps." Kale leaned forward, his voice tinged with urgency. "What about the Watchers? Their essence is still here, inside the ship. Do we destroy it, preserve it, or find some way to coexist?" "That depends on what we believe their purpose is," Ilara replied thoughtfully. "They're not enemies. They're survivors. If we abandon them, we risk repeating the mistakes of their creators. But if we integrate them further into our technology—" She trailed off, leaving the implications unspoken. Zenera finally spoke up, her tone softer than usual. "Perhaps the answer isn't integration or destruction. Maybe it's liberation." All eyes turned to her. For once, her expression wasn't guarded, it was earnest. The Watchers have been trapped for millennia, bound to a mission they never chose. If we helped them complete that mission, if we gave them closure, they might finally be free. The idea resonated deeply with the group. After a long pause, Drake sighed. "Then that's what we'll do. We'll present the Council with a partial truth, that the signal was a warning meant to guide us toward caution, not conquest. And privately, we'll work on finding a way to honor the Watchers' legacy." Their plans solidified quickly. Upon arrival, they delivered a carefully crafted report to the Council, emphasizing the dangers of unchecked exploration, while omitting details about the Watchers and their transformation. The Council accepted their findings cautiously, ordering the monolith near Saturn's rings destroyed remotely to prevent further interference. Behind closed doors, however, the crew began working on their secret project. Using the Eos' advanced systems, they constructed a new vessel, a hybrid of human engineering and alien design, capable of carrying the Watcher's essence across the stars. It would serve as both a repository for their knowledge and a means of spreading their message of balance and restraint. Ilara volunteered to stay behind, realizing her connection to the Watchers ran deeper than anyone else's. "I started this journey," she said quietly. "It's only fitting I finish it." Though heartbroken, the others honored her decision, knowing she was the best person to ensure the Watchers' safe passage. In a solemn ceremony aboard the Eos, the crew bid farewell to Ilara and launched the new vessel into the void. As it disappeared into the depths of space, Kale whispered a single word: freedom. Years later, whispers spread among scientists about faint signals detected near Saturn's rings once more. Some claimed to hear a voice, a woman's voice, speaking softly through the static. Those who listened closely swore they could make out fragments of a message. "We are echoes of eternity, bound by choices we make. Choose wisely." Though no one could confirm its origin, many believed it was Ilara's voice, guiding humanity from afar. Whether myth or reality, the tale became legend, a reminder that the universe held mysteries far greater than any one species could comprehend. And so, the story of the Eos and its crew ended not with answers, but with questions. Questions about identity, purpose, and the delicate balance between curiosity and consequence. Questions that would linger in the hearts of all who dared to look to the stars and dream of what lay beyond.